I absent-mindedly muttered, "Queen is so beautiful," but I didn't know the Queen was standing behind me. He had been working for hours, checking and repairing interstellar shuttles, ensuring each engine, circuit, and energy panel was running perfectly. Sweat ran down his forehead, and his eyes ached from staring at the tiny holographic displays. He muttered to himself under his breath, as he often did when deep in concentration, "The Queen is so beautiful." It was a thought that had crossed his mind while he had been glancing at the holofeed of the Galactic Council's news. Queen Lyra, the ruler of more than 100 star systems, had appeared in a recent broadcast, smiling graciously at her people. Her elegance, the way she carried herself, the calm in her voice, it had left Eli mesmerized. And now, tired and distracted, he had spoken it aloud without thinking. The words hung in the air like a bubble of sparkling light. Eli continued his work, adjusting energy cores and testing propulsion units, completely unaware of the presence of anyone nearby. Behind him, someone cleared her throat softly. Eli froze. His fingers hovered over the console. Slowly, he turned around, expecting maybe one of his coworkers or a guard, but what he saw stopped him in his tracks. Queen Lyra was standing there in person. Not a hologram, not a projection, but the Queen herself in her full regal attire, surrounded by her guards. Her eyes, deep and calm, looked directly at him, as if she could see every thought that had ever crossed his mind. For a moment, Eli's brain refused to function. His mouth opened, but no words came out. His usual confidence, the kind that let him fix complex starship engines in record time, vanished entirely. I didn't, Eli stammered, waving his hands like a fish out of water. Queen Lyra's expression was unreadable. She tilted her head slightly, a gesture that could have been curiosity or amusement. Eli couldn't tell. "You called me beautiful," she said softly, her voice calm but carrying the kind of authority that could quiet a busy spaceport in seconds. Eli swallowed hard. I didn't mean, I was just thinking, the Queen raised a hand. "It is fine. I did not come here to punish a human for an offhand comment, but you are different, Eli Vance." Eli's eyes widened. "Why you know my name?" "Of course," Queen Lyra said. "I have been watching humans closely. You are often too absorbed in your work to notice the world around you. Yet when you do, your honesty is refreshing." Eli's mind raced. Watching humans closely, the Queen had been observing him, and she called him refreshing. He felt a mix of pride and fear. "I thank you, Your Majesty," he finally managed to say, bowing slightly, as his technician training had taught him to do in the presence of dignitaries. Queen Lyra smiled faintly. "You are a human of curiosity. I like that. It is unusual among your kind to speak thoughts aloud without hiding them." Eli blinked. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or a warning." "It is a compliment," she said, stepping closer. Her presence was calm, but there was an energy about her that made every sound in the spaceport seem distant, like they were underwater. "And it is an opportunity, one that I am offering to you." Eli's heart skipped a beat. "Opportunity, me?" "Yes, come with me. Represent humanity in a diplomatic mission beyond the borders of known space. I wish to see if your kind can surprise me." The Queen's guards straightened, their eyes scanning the spaceport for any potential threat, but Eli barely noticed them. He was too busy trying to understand what was happening. Him represent humanity? That was impossible. He was just a technician, a repairman for starships, not some interstellar diplomat. "But I'm not trained for diplomacy. I fix engines, I repair circuits, I don't." "You have qualities that cannot be taught," the Queen interrupted gently. "Your honesty, your curiosity, your courage to speak freely, these are the traits that matter in exploration. And in times when the galaxy will face challenges, these traits will be more important than any formal training." Eli's mind spun. Could it be true? Could his simple, thoughtless compliment really have led to this? The Queen glanced around the busy spaceport, then back at him. "Will you accept?" Eli's instinct screamed at him to say no, to run back to the safety of his workshop. But another part, the part that had always dreamed of seeing the stars up close, said yes. He swallowed hard and nodded. I accept, Your Majesty." A faint smile crossed Queen Lyra's face. "Good, prepare yourself, we leave at dawn." As she turned and began walking away, Eli realized he had one brief moment to process what was happening. The entire spaceport seemed to buzz around him, but all he could feel was a strange mix of excitement and terror. He had just muttered a single sentence absent-mindedly, and that sentence had changed his life forever. Eli spent the rest of the day in a haze, packing, checking his tools, and trying not to faint every time he imagined standing next to the Queen. His coworkers whispered about the impossible, but he didn't correct them. He didn't need to. He himself could hardly believe it. By nightfall, the spaceport was quiet, the engines resting, and Eli sat on the edge of his bunk, staring at the small model of a shuttle he had kept since childhood. He thought about the vastness of space, the countless stars he had only ever seen from a distance, and the adventure that awaited him. "Humans are curious," he whispered to himself, thinking of the Queen's words. "Maybe that's our superpower." For the first time, he felt a sense of pride he had never experienced. He was just a technician, just a human among many, yet somehow, that had been enough to catch the attention of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The next morning, the sun of Aurora Prime rose over the spaceport in golden light. Eli dressed in the uniform provided by the Queen's staff, functional but elegant, designed for travel and diplomacy alike. His stomach churned with nervousness as the royal shuttle landed, its polished hull reflecting the first rays of light. Eli took a deep breath, gripping his toolkit tightly. He reminded himself this was not just about him. Humanity was being watched, evaluated, and perhaps judged. Every move he made would reflect not just on him, but on every human across the galaxy. As the shuttle doors opened, and the Queen's soft voice called him forward, Eli stepped into the craft with a trembling heart and an unshakable sense of awe. This was it, the moment when an absent-minded compliment had turned into a journey beyond imagination. And as the engines hummed to life, lifting them off the ground and into the sky, Eli realized that space, with all its dangers and wonders, had never seemed so inviting. The Queen turned to him, a faint smile on her face. "Do not worry, Eli. Curiosity will guide you. Courage will protect you, and humans will surprise me yet." Eli swallowed hard, nodded, and stared out of the window at the endless stars. He had no idea what awaited him, but one thing was certain. His life, and perhaps the fate of humanity, was about to change forever. The shuttle hummed quietly as it glided above Aurora Prime, leaving the bustling spaceport behind. Outside the window, the surface of the planet stretched like a painted canvas. Lush forests, shining rivers, and sparkling cities that reflected the early morning sun. Eli Vance pressed his hands against the cold glass, hardly believing he was actually here. A day ago, he had been fixing engines and checking fuel cells, and now he was soaring into the unknown alongside the Galactic Queen herself. Queen Lyra sat across from him, serene and composed, her long robes flowing elegantly even in the gravity-neutral environment of the shuttle. Her eyes, a deep violet, held a sharp intelligence that made Eli feel both nervous and curious at the same time. For a moment, he just stared at her, trying to remember if he should bow again or perhaps speak. "Relax, Eli," the Queen said softly, as if reading his thoughts. "You will not be judged for your hesitation. Curiosity is more valuable than perfect etiquette." Eli swallowed and nodded, trying to calm the pounding of his heart. "Yes, Your Majesty," he said, though his voice trembled slightly. I will do my best." Lyra smiled faintly. "Your best is enough. Humans often think in ways others cannot." "That is why I have brought you on this mission." Eli blinked. "Mission?" He hadn't realized there was more than just travel. "Yes," Lyra said, her voice soft but firm. "I wish to test humanity's abilities. You will join an exploratory team to survey regions beyond known space. Many species have failed to navigate these areas safely, but I believe humans may succeed where others have not." Eli felt a rush of both excitement and fear. Humans had always dreamed of exploring space, but he never imagined he would be trusted to represent the entire species. I don't know if I'm qualified," he started, but the Queen raised a hand. "Qualification is not always about skill. It is about curiosity, honesty, and courage. You have all three. That is why you were chosen." Eli looked down at his hands, which were suddenly sweating. He wanted to protest, to say that he was just a technician, but something in Lyra's calm gaze made him stop. He realized that protesting now would accomplish nothing. Instead, he nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I'll do my best." Lyra inclined her head, her expression unreadable but approving. "Good. You will need more than technical skill. You will need your mind, your instincts, and your ability to see solutions where others see obstacles." The shuttle banked slightly, and outside the window, stars stretched into streaks of light as they entered faster than light travel. Eli pressed himself back into his seat, feeling both awe and fear. He had studied star maps and schematics, but seeing space like this, so vast and endless, was overwhelming. "Is it safe?" Eli asked quietly, trying to mask his nervousness. Queen Lyra's smile was patient. "Safe is relative. The unknown is never completely safe. But risk is necessary for discovery." Eli nodded slowly, trying to absorb her words. He had faced risky repairs before, sometimes life-threatening, but nothing compared to this. Here, he was not just repairing a machine, he was representing all of humanity. After what felt like hours, the shuttle began its descent toward a massive space station orbiting a remote star system. The station was enormous, with countless docking bays, observation decks, and research facilities. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved about, speaking in languages Eli had never heard before. Robots glided silently, assisting travelers and maintaining the station. "This is the Galactic Exploration Hub," Lyra said, gesturing toward the station. "From here, your team will be assembled and your mission will begin." Eli's eyes widened. "Team? Mission?" "Yes," the Queen said. "You will not travel alone. You will join representatives from various species. They are the best in their fields. Scientists, navigators, engineers, and strategists. And you, human Eli Vance, will bring a perspective they may not expect." Eli's stomach tightened. Being surrounded by highly trained experts was intimidating. Humans had a reputation for being creative, yes, but also unpredictable. He wondered if they would respect him or see him as a naive observer. Lyra must have noticed his hesitation. "Do not worry," she said. "They will respect you if you prove yourself. And that will happen quickly. Trust in your curiosity, Eli. It is more powerful than any formal training." The shuttle docked, and Eli followed the Queen down the ramp, taking in the station's scale. Everywhere he looked, there were beings moving with purpose. An alien with 4 arms adjusting a control panel, a creature with translucent skin studying a star map, and a small mechanical drone hovering silently above. Humans were here too, though they were few. Eli felt a sudden surge of pride. He was part of something bigger than himself. As they entered the main hall, a holographic display lit up, showing a map of unexplored star systems. "Your mission," Lyra explained, "is to survey these regions, identify potential resources, and establish safe routes for future travel. Many have tried, many have failed. Humans have never been given this task before. That is why your perspective is essential." Eli felt the weight of responsibility. He had fixed engines, sure, but navigating uncharted space. Negotiating with alien species, it was daunting, yet he remembered the Queen's words, curiosity and courage, that was enough. "Your team will arrive shortly," Lyra said. "I suggest you prepare yourself. Think of problems not as obstacles, but as puzzles. You may find solutions that others cannot imagine." Eli nodded, though his mind was already spinning with questions. Who would be on his team? What dangers awaited them? Could he truly represent humanity? Hours passed, and the other team members began to arrive. There was Sarek, a tall, multi-limbed engineer from a planet with high gravity. Thessa, a navigator whose species could perceive light beyond human vision. And Cairo, a strategist with a mind like a living computer. Eli felt small among them, but he reminded himself that humans were known for thinking differently, for solving problems in unexpected ways. During the initial meeting, Lyra spoke briefly before leaving them to their preparations. "Remember," she said, "the galaxy underestimates humans. Let them. You will prove them wrong." The team was briefed on the mission details. Their first stop was a star system known only from ancient records, with planets that had never been studied closely. Sensors indicated potential mineral wealth, but also hazards, unstable magnetic fields, rogue asteroid belts, and signs of intelligent but unknown life forms. As the team discussed strategies, Eli spoke up. "What if we combine navigation with sensor readings in real time, adjusting the flight path as we go? It might reduce risk from unknown hazards." The aliens looked at him, surprised. Sarek raised an extra arm in approval. "Interesting. No one thought to integrate sensors and flight adjustments like that. You humans are creative." Eli smiled nervously. This was the first sign that perhaps he did belong here. His ideas, simple as they seemed, could make a difference. Night fell on the station, though the artificial lighting made it impossible to tell. Eli sat by a window, staring at the stars beyond. He thought about Earth, about the planet he had called home and the people he had left behind. He realized that he was no longer just fixing engines. He was part of humanity's first real step into the galaxy. The Queen had given him a chance based on a single, absent-minded comment. And now, that chance was more than words. It was real. He felt both terrified and exhilarated. Suddenly, a soft chime sounded from his communicator, a message from Queen Lyra. Eli, remember, curiosity will guide you. Trust your instincts. The galaxy rewards those who see beyond the obvious. He read the message twice, feeling a surge of confidence. Maybe he was ready. Maybe humans truly could surprise the galaxy. The next morning, the team gathered near the shuttle that would take them to the uncharted star system. Eli checked his equipment, double-checked his tools, and took a deep breath. He felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement, but also something else: hope. As they lifted off, leaving the station behind, Eli glanced at his team. They were skilled, experienced, and highly trained. But he had something they might not expect: human curiosity, human courage, and a willingness to speak the truth, even in the face of uncertainty. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that this mission was only the beginning. The stars stretched out before them, endless and shining, full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. And for the first time, Eli felt that he was not just a human technician. He was humanity's representative, tasked with showing the galaxy what humans could truly do. The Queen's words echoed in his mind. "Humans will surprise me yet." Eli smiled. He hoped she was ready to be surprised. The shuttle's engines hummed steadily as it traveled deeper into uncharted space. Eli Vance sat in his seat, staring out at the stars that stretched endlessly beyond the windows. Each twinkle seemed to promise adventure, but also danger. He had never been this far from Aurora Prime or from Earth. The sheer emptiness of space made his chest tighten, but at the same time it filled him with excitement. Beside him, Sarek, the multi-limbed engineer, adjusted a series of glowing panels on the shuttle's console. "This region is unpredictable," Sarek said, his four arms moving in perfect rhythm. "Sensors show fluctuations in magnetic fields and gravitational anomalies. Many crews have lost their way here." Eli nodded, trying to imagine what lost their way really meant. He had seen engine failures and navigation errors before, but this sounded permanent. Yet, somewhere in the back of his mind, he remembered Queen Lyra's words: "Curiosity will guide you. Humans will surprise me yet." Thessa, the navigator who could perceive wavelengths beyond human vision, looked over the sensor displays. "If we adjust our trajectory based on real-time readings, we can avoid the worst of the anomalies," she suggested. "But it requires constant monitoring." Eli's fingers itched. He wanted to help, to do something. Suddenly, an idea struck him. "What if we create a predictive model?" he said, leaning forward. "We could use the sensor data and compare it to patterns from nearby stars, then anticipate anomalies before they hit." The alien team members paused and stared at him. Cairo, the strategist, tilted his head. "Predictive models? You mean using sensors in a way that isn't standard?" "Yes," Eli said, a little more confidently. "It's not perfect, but it might give us a margin of safety." Sarek's extra arms gestured in approval. "Impressive. You humans really do see differently. We can implement your idea immediately." Eli felt a small surge of pride. It was a simple concept, yes, but it was human ingenuity, improvisation, quick thinking, and an ability to connect ideas in ways others might overlook. He realized that this was exactly what the Queen had meant when she chose him. The shuttle continued its journey, weaving carefully through asteroid fields and magnetic storms. Eli and the team worked together seamlessly, combining alien precision with human creativity. For the first time, Eli felt like he truly belonged in this interstellar crew. Hours passed, and the shuttle approached the edge of a dense asteroid cluster. The sensors beeped rapidly, signaling unstable gravitational currents and rogue debris. Most species would have slowed down, carefully navigating each rock. But Eli had another idea. "Instead of avoiding the entire field, we can create a path through it using the sensors to predict movement," he suggested. "It'll be risky but faster." Thessa hesitated. "It's dangerous. One mistake." Eli nodded, understanding. "I know, but we also need speed. If we can make it, it proves humans can solve problems that others consider impossible." Cairo studied the readings, then slowly nodded. "I agree. Human intuition may succeed where algorithms fail. We follow your plan, Eli." With careful coordination, the team executed Eli's plan. Sarek's mechanical arms manipulated the shields and thrusters. Thessa guided the shuttle through invisible currents, and Eli monitored the predictive models, updating them constantly. Each second felt like an eternity, and yet the shuttle moved gracefully through the hazardous field. When they finally emerged on the other side, Eli leaned back in his seat, letting out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. "We made it," he said, almost in disbelief. Sarek's four arms clapped together. "Human ingenuity saved us," he said. "Impressive." Thessa smiled. "You may be more than a technician after all." Eli grinned, feeling warmth spread through him. He was beginning to understand what the Queen had seen in him. Humans might not have the speed or precision of some species, but they had creativity and courage, traits that, in unpredictable situations, could turn the tide. As they continued their journey, the shuttle's sensors detected something unusual, a planet surrounded by a faint energy field. "Scans show life signatures," Thessa reported, her voice filled with awe. "But the readings are inconsistent. The field interferes with our instruments." Eli leaned forward, fascinated. "Could it be intelligent life or some kind of anomaly?" Cairo frowned. "Unknown could be dangerous." The team debated the risks, but Eli spoke up. "We need to investigate. This is what exploration is about, finding the unknown and understanding it. If we avoid every anomaly, we'll never discover anything." After a tense vote, the team agreed. They approached the planet cautiously, scanning for safe landing zones. The energy field shimmered like a rainbow across the surface, shifting and pulsing in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. When they finally landed, the shuttle's doors opened to reveal a world unlike any Eli had seen. The ground was covered in glowing crystal formations, and the air shimmered faintly with the energy field's influence. Strange plants with translucent leaves swayed gently, even without wind. The planet seemed alive in a way that was both beautiful and intimidating. "Stay alert," Cairo warned. "We don't know what's here." Eli stepped forward, taking careful steps across the glowing terrain. Every instinct told him to proceed cautiously, but curiosity pulled him onward. He touched a crystal, and it vibrated softly beneath his fingers, sending a tingling sensation through his hand. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's like the planet itself is aware of us." Thessa nodded. "Some life forms communicate through energy fields. Perhaps this planet is sentient in some way." Sarek adjusted the sensors. "We should gather samples, but carefully. Any sudden movement might trigger a defensive reaction." As they worked, Eli noticed patterns in the energy field that others hadn't. The crystals pulsed rhythmically, almost like a language. "Wait," he said, pointing. "I think it's trying to communicate. Look at the pulses, they repeat in sequences." The team paused, observing Eli's interpretation. Slowly, they realized he was right. The planet was indeed signaling them. Eli felt a thrill of excitement. This was the kind of discovery humans were meant for, moments where intuition and observation mattered more than technology alone. Over the next hours, the team carefully recorded the patterns, mapping them alongside the planet's geography. Eli suggested ways to replicate the pulses using their shuttle's instruments, and eventually, the planet responded with changes in the field. It was a conversation, slow and deliberate but real. "This is unprecedented," Cairo said quietly. "Humans may be the key to understanding this life form. Others would have overlooked the patterns entirely." Eli felt a mix of pride and wonder. He remembered Queen Lyra's words again. "Humans will surprise me yet." Maybe she had known something the others, that human creativity, curiosity, and patience could achieve what advanced technology alone could not. As the day ended, Eli stood outside the shuttle, gazing at the glowing landscape. He felt a sense of connection to the planet, to the stars around them, and to the vast possibilities ahead. Humans were small, fragile creatures in the grand scheme of the galaxy, but perhaps that very smallness made them capable of seeing things differently, of finding solutions no one else could imagine. When the team returned to the shuttle for rest, Eli looked at his colleagues. They had faced the unknown together, and they had succeeded. Sarek clapped him on the shoulder, Thessa smiled warmly, and even Cairo nodded with respect. For the first time, Eli truly felt like a representative of humanity, not just a technician, but a human being capable of making a difference on a galactic scale. As he drifted to sleep, the glowing energy field outside casting soft lights across the cabin, Eli realized that this mission was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. And humans, curious, courageous, inventive, might just be the species that could navigate the unknown, turning every challenge into opportunity. Eli closed his eyes, imagining the stars ahead and the discoveries yet to come. He felt ready for whatever the universe would throw at him next, knowing that even in the darkest, most dangerous corners of space, humanity could shine. Somewhere deep in the stars, Queen Lyra watched. She had seen Eli's actions through the shuttle's communication feed, and a faint smile crossed her face. Humans were indeed surprising. The shuttle left the glowing planet behind, carrying Eli and his team deeper into the uncharted star system. The journey had been smooth so far, but Eli could feel tension in the air. The mission had moved beyond exploration. The unknown was no longer just strange planets or mysterious energy fields. Now, real danger awaited them. Their sensors detected a rogue fleet ahead. The ships were unmarked, moving unpredictably and scanning for intruders. "Unknown faction," Cairo said, his voice calm but serious. "They are aggressive. Most crews would avoid this region entirely." Eli swallowed hard. Do we have to confront them?" Thessa shook her head. "Confrontation could be fatal. We should try negotiation or avoidance first." Sarek adjusted the shields. "Our fleet is small. We can't fight them head-on, but humans might think differently. Perhaps we can find a way to protect ourselves without direct conflict." Eli thought fast. He had studied rogue ships in simulations back on Aurora Prime, but nothing compared to real, live enemy vessels. His mind raced. "We can't fight, but we can confuse them," he said. "If we make it look like we are more dangerous than we are, they might back off." Cairo raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Eli pointed to the shuttle's control panels. "We can use the shuttle's energy fields to create multiple false signals, fake ships, fake weapons, false trajectories. They won't know where we really are." Thessa's eyes lit up. "A decoy network. It could work if we synchronize the pulses perfectly." Sarek's extra arms worked quickly, adjusting shields and energy emitters to follow Eli's plan. "Human creativity," he muttered, clearly impressed. The rogue fleet closed in. Their sensors picked up the shuttle, and for a moment it seemed certain that conflict was unavoidable. But Eli focused on the controls, his mind racing faster than ever before. He coordinated the decoy signals, overlaying them with the shuttle's real movements, and predicted how the enemy would react. The first attack came in the form of laser blasts, cutting across space with deadly precision. The decoys flickered, mimicking ships and weapons that didn't exist. The rogue fleet fired at illusions, wasting energy and resources. Eli's plan worked. "Keep the patterns irregular," he shouted. "They'll adapt if we're predictable." Thessa adjusted the navigation, weaving the shuttle in and out of the decoys, while Cairo monitored enemy movements and calculated probabilities. The rogue fleet grew confused, unsure of which targets were real. Hours passed, the tension building with every pulse of the shuttle's engines. Finally, the rogue fleet began to pull back, seemingly deciding the risk was too high. Eli exhaled, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. "We did it," he said, almost in disbelief. Sarek clapped his multiple arms together. "Human ingenuity saved us again. Impressive." Thessa smiled. "Your instincts, Eli, they made the difference." Even Cairo nodded, his expression softening. "Humans may not have the speed or armor of other species, but their ability to adapt is remarkable. Today, you proved it." Eli felt a surge of pride. He had represented humanity in the most dangerous way possible, and they had survived. For the first time, he realized that humans had strengths others often overlooked. Curiosity, courage, and creativity were powerful weapons in the universe. The team continued to the next destination, a planet with a dense atmosphere filled with storms and unpredictable energy surges. Sensors warned of unstable weather patterns that could tear apart any landing attempt. "We have to land," Cairo said. "Our mission requires surface data, and we can't rely on orbital scans alone." Eli thought about the rogue fleet they had just evaded. They couldn't afford mistakes. "We need to predict the storm patterns," he said. "If we analyze wind flows and energy readings, we can find a safe path." Thessa nodded. "Agreed. Eli, can you set up predictive modeling for the landing approach?" Eli worked feverishly, his mind connecting sensor readings, satellite images, and data from previous missions. He created a simulation, predicting how the storms would shift over the next hours. Using his model, the team adjusted the shuttle's trajectory, timing the descent perfectly. The shuttle touched down on the planet's surface, landing safely in a clearing between storm clouds. Eli let out a long breath. "We made it," he said quietly. "We really made it." The team began their exploration. The surface was rocky but rich in minerals that could be used for energy production. Strange crystalline formations pulsed with faint light, indicating potential resources. Eli carefully recorded data, taking notes while also observing the patterns. Suddenly, sensors detected movement nearby. Shadows shifted, and a group of alien creatures emerged from the rocks. They were humanoid in shape but covered in crystalline armor that shimmered in the storm light. Their eyes glowed with intelligence, and they seemed curious about the new arrivals. "Friendly?" Thessa asked cautiously. Eli studied their movements. "Not sure." "But they're observing, not attacking. Let's proceed slowly." The creatures approached cautiously, then paused. Eli realized they were responding to the shuttle's energy fields. He adjusted the readings slightly, creating pulses that mirrored the planet's natural rhythms. The creatures seemed to understand. Slowly they gestured, guiding the team to a safe area where resources could be scanned without triggering danger. "Communication through energy patterns," Eli whispered. "Just like the last planet," Sarek nodded. "Humans are incredible at reading signals others would miss. Your instincts are saving us once again." Over the next few hours, the team collected samples, recorded data, and established temporary markers for future missions. Eli noticed small, intricate patterns in the crystals that no sensor could detect. They formed sequences that suggested a form of intelligence, a language hidden in natural structures. "This planet, it's alive in ways we didn't expect," Eli said. "Not just biological life, but intelligent patterns. We can learn from them." Cairo looked impressed. "This is why humans are valuable. Others would have treated the planet as resources alone. You saw the intelligence, the patterns, the potential for communication. That is insight no algorithm can replace." As the day ended, the team returned to the shuttle, exhausted but exhilarated. Eli stared at the storm clouds glowing softly in the fading light. He realized that humans were not only explorers, they were connectors. They could see patterns, make sense of chaos, and find solutions in ways others could not. The Queen's voice came through the communicator, calm and approving. "Eli, you have proven the worth of humanity. Your courage, creativity, and curiosity have saved your team and uncovered new knowledge. Continue, and you will show the galaxy the value of your kind." Eli smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty," he whispered. Her approval meant more than words could express. As the shuttle lifted off, leaving the stormy planet behind, Eli thought about the mission so far. Each challenge had tested them: rogue fleets, unpredictable storms, unknown planets. But humanity's strengths had carried the day. They had survived where others might have failed, and they had done so through ingenuity, courage, and the ability to see what others overlooked. He looked at his team, now trusting him fully, and felt a deep sense of responsibility. Humans had proven themselves in the galaxy not by weapons or brute force, but by the qualities that made them uniquely human. Every decision, every observation, every moment of curiosity mattered. Eli knew that more challenges awaited them. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous, but he felt ready. He had seen the value of human creativity in action, and he knew it would guide them through whatever lay ahead. As stars stretched endlessly beyond the shuttle's windows, Eli leaned back, thinking about the Queen's words. She had believed in him from the moment he had muttered a single sentence about her beauty. That belief had opened the door to adventure, danger, and discovery. And now he understood why. Humans were small, fragile, and ordinary in some ways, but extraordinary in the ways that truly mattered. The universe had underestimated them. And Eli knew with growing certainty that humanity would not disappoint. The shuttle glided silently through the dark void of space, the stars stretching endlessly beyond the windows. Eli Vance sat quietly in his seat, staring out at the distant galaxies. The mission had taken them through uncharted systems, dangerous anomalies, and encounters with strange life forms, yet they had survived. Not just survived, they had succeeded. He glanced at his team. Sarek adjusted the energy shields, Thessa studied the navigation charts, and Cairo monitored the communications channels. All of them looked focused, but there was a new sense of respect in their expressions when they glanced at Eli. He had not only guided them through unpredictable challenges, but he had also helped them see solutions in ways they had never imagined. Eli's mind wandered back to the beginning, to the moment when he had muttered a simple sentence about the Queen without thinking. Who would have guessed that one casual thought could set in motion a journey that would change not only his life, but humanity's place in the galaxy? The shuttle's communicator chimed, and Queen Lyra's calm, commanding voice filled the cabin. Eli, your mission is complete. The data you have gathered, the life forms you have encountered, and the strategies you have employed have exceeded expectations. Eli straightened. Thank you, Your Majesty, he said. I only did what I could. Lyra's voice was gentle, yet carried authority. What you did was more than technical skill. You showed courage, ingenuity, and a willingness to act when others might have hesitated. These qualities are rare among all species, and your actions have proven that humans are capable of far more than we realized. Eli felt warmth rise in his chest. Recognition from the Queen herself was beyond anything he had imagined. I'm honored, he said quietly. Your team will return to Aurora Prime shortly, Lyra continued. You will be celebrated as humanity's first true explorers in these regions. But remember, this is only the beginning. Humans have much to offer the galaxy, and I will be watching with interest as your kind continues to grow. The shuttle began its descent toward Aurora Prime's orbit, and Eli gazed down at the blue and green planet. Cities glimmered like jewels under the sun, and the familiar landscape felt warmer than ever. He thought about the humans who had stayed behind, unaware that one of their own had just made a mark on the galaxy. As they landed, the spaceport was crowded with people waiting for the team's return. Scientists, diplomats, journalists, and even young students had gathered, eager to witness the arrival of those who had ventured beyond the known universe. Eli felt a mixture of pride and nervousness as he stepped onto the platform. The Queen was already there, standing on a raised dais, her presence commanding yet approachable. She smiled faintly as Eli approached. "Welcome home, Eli," she said, "and welcome home to your team as well." The crowd erupted in cheers. Eli waved awkwardly, feeling embarrassed but pleased. He glanced at his team, who smiled and nodded, sharing in the moment. For once, he was not just a technician. He was a representative of humanity's ingenuity and courage. As the ceremonies concluded, the Queen pulled Eli aside. "You have proven that humans are not only survivors, but innovators and leaders. That is why I offer you this," she said, presenting a small, glowing medallion etched with symbols from multiple star systems. "This is the mark of recognition for outstanding contribution to galactic exploration. Wear it with pride." Eli accepted the medallion with trembling hands. I don't know what to say." "You need not say anything," the Queen said. "Your actions speak louder than words. Remember, humanity's strength is not just in technology or strength, but in creativity, courage, and the willingness to see beyond the obvious. You have embodied all of these qualities." Eli's mind raced as he looked around. All the accomplishments, the challenges, the moments of fear and discovery, they had led to this. He realized that being human meant more than being ordinary. It meant finding solutions when none seemed possible, taking risks when necessary, and learning from every mistake. Later, as the celebrations continued, Eli found a quiet corner overlooking the city lights. The Queen had returned to her quarters, and the crowd had begun to disperse. Eli thought about the planets he had seen, the life forms he had studied, and the rogue fleet they had evaded. He thought about the glowing crystal planet, the energy pulses that had communicated with him, and the storms they had navigated together. He smiled, realizing that each challenge had been an opportunity to prove that humans could adapt, survive, and thrive. The Queen had believed in him from the start, and now he understood why. Humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because others had failed to see the value in traits like curiosity, imagination, and courage. "Humans are amazing," Eli whispered to himself, the glow of the city reflecting in his eyes. "We really can do anything if we try." The next day, the team gathered for a debriefing with the Galactic Council. Aliens from dozens of species attended, all eager to learn from the humans who had succeeded where others had failed. Eli was nervous at first, but as he spoke about their strategies, their observations, and the insights gained from their missions, he noticed the reaction of the council members. They listened intently. They asked questions. They marveled at the human approach to problem-solving. And slowly a consensus began to form. Humans were not just survivors, but valuable explorers, diplomats, and thinkers. One council member, a tall being with silver skin and luminous eyes, leaned forward. "Your methods are unusual," they said, "yet they work. Humans combine creativity with intuition in ways that we have rarely seen. Your species has a place among the galaxy's explorers." Eli felt a surge of pride. It was not just his own recognition, but humanity's. They had earned a reputation for ingenuity, courage, and the ability to face the unknown. As the council session ended, Eli and his team returned to the shuttle. They had accomplished more than anyone had expected, and the future seemed brighter than ever. Eli realized that the mission had changed him. He was no longer just a technician fixing engines. He was a human who had helped humanity step into a larger role in the galaxy. That evening, Eli sat under the stars, thinking about how far he had come. From a casual, absent-minded comment about the Queen's beauty to being recognized as humanity's representative in the galaxy, his journey had been extraordinary. He thought about all the moments of doubt, the moments of fear, and the moments of inspiration. Every step had mattered. He smiled, thinking about the Queen's words, "Humans will surprise me yet." She had been right. Humans had proven themselves capable of seeing solutions where others saw problems, of taking risks that others feared, and of finding ways to connect with the unknown. Eli realized that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and opportunities. Humans had shown they could rise to the occasion, and he knew that future generations would continue to explore, to innovate, and to surprise the universe. As he looked up at the stars, a quiet voice in his mind whispered, "Curiosity, courage, creativity, that is humanity's gift." Eli closed his eyes, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. He had proven his worth, yes, but more importantly, he had helped humanity prove its worth. The universe was full of possibilities, and humans were ready to meet them. Somewhere far away, Queen Lyra observed the galaxy, her thoughts on the humans she had chosen to trust. She smiled faintly, knowing that humanity's story was only beginning. And as for Eli Vance, he had learned that even the smallest, simplest actions, a single sentence muttered without thought, could set in motion events that changed the course of history. The night stretched on, quiet and infinite. And for the first time, Eli felt a deep connection, not just to the stars, the planets, or the life forms he had encountered, but to something larger, the potential of humanity itself. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "We really can do anything." And somewhere in the stars, the universe seemed to nod in agreement.